Welcome to the Vacation Rental Show, How We Grow. This is your essential playbook to grow and scale your vacation rental business. With advice and insights from the best in the biz, I'm your host, Lynell Gordon. Welcome to the Vacation Rental Show. I'm Lynell Gordon, your host, and today I'm really happy to bring to you someone who is known for being a connector at heart and bringing people back together again. But he also is the CEO and co-founder of Above Vacation Residences. They are a luxury property management company, and they're dedicated to providing exclusive, exceptional properties and high-end experiences. He has a track record, guys, of curating high-end properties and experiences. So listen up if you're interested in growing your luxury market. Now, that being said, Brian's experience, his career, it really spans numerous prestigious roles in the luxury hospitality and real estate sectors. And in addition, Brian co-founded Teamings, which is something I'm excited to ask him about. It's a meeting solution provider, and he has extensive experience in corporate planning, event technology, and conferencing. Welcome, Brian Sbrocco.
Well,
We're
thanks
really
for
happy to
having
have
me.
you.
Oh, pleasure's mine. Thank you for having me.
So you were talking a little bit about this, and that is exactly what I wanted to ask you about. So you said this, I'm a connector at heart, and I
I
want
am.
to bring people back together again. So tell me more about that, including what you were chatting about with your high school. Tell me.
I wish they taught a class on connecting your God-given talents to what you should do for a living, right? Because I always was that guy. I was in everybody's clique, not just one clique. And it was always my job. Hey, what are we doing this weekend? Ooh, what are we doing for spring break? What are we going to do in my fraternity? Hey, what are we going to, what sororities are we hanging out with? Where are we going for our formal? What are we going to, I never asked for this. I just tend to maybe have had that God-given talent, that specific thing that you did not earn, but was kind of built, hardwired in you. That was me. And it really was when I joined Hyatt Hotels and Resorts is when I actually realized, like, oh, this is probably what I should have went to school for, right? This is who I am. And it's no doubt then why I founded 3 or 4 companies now that all have that ribbon weave through of connectivity, bringing people together, regardless of medium. Of course, I have my opinions on what mediums are best, but I'm just a favor of bringing people together.
That's so funny. My son, who is in radio technology school right now, he said to me a few months ago, he said, Mom, why don't they have a class in high school that teaches you what you would do best? Why don't they do that? Why don't they tell you what you would do best? And then you could just focus on it. He said, why didn't you tell me to go into medical earlier? And I said to him, I said, Heath, the best we have, son, are guidance counselors. And, I think that, you know, God has instilled in each of us specific talents, and we have to find them. But I agree with you. There should have been a class taught, and there should be some
I'm
way
not sure
that
if I would have been listening. Maybe your son's a heck of a lot wiser than I was at that age. I'm not sure if I would have had the intellect to even listen at that point, but God does reveal at the right time, doesn't he always? So that is a great point, because I think the earlier we can find those passions and we can align those, the better. And I am beyond grateful that I chose hospitality, that I chose this to be my career, my ability to give back to society. Um, I love being a servant at heart. And I think that is at the basis of hospitality, to serve others. It challenges me as well as it fills me, which is great. And then when people think about hospitality, they go, oh, well, I'll have to work in a hotel, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to be. There's so many ways to be hospitable, right? But those people who are looking to start a career in hospitality, could not recommend it enough.
No, I agree. It's the nicest people you'll ever meet in the industry. I was putting a paper together last night for some things that I want to do. You know how you have goals? We all have goals. And I had written a sentence, and I went back and I looked at it and I thought, but it's so true. One of the things I said was, who wouldn't want to work in an industry with the smartest and the kindest people in the world? And that truly is the hospitality industry, both on the technology side and on the, on the vacation rental manager side. It's so true. Let me ask you this about Above.
Sure.
So you have a luxury hospitality market. Tell me about your market and the unique experience that you create for both your guests and your homeowners, because I know you love them both equally.
Yeah. We sit on a three-legged stool. I always say it above. We've got our homeowners, we've got our guests, and we've got each other, our associates. And I've got to pour into them equally, right? I treat my homeowners no differently than I treat my associates, I treat my guests. Case in point, Above was born out of this crazy idea of not just buying a house and renting it out, but was born into going, your home, your primary home, is probably the most chock full of amenities and the best chance a guest could live like a local than anywhere else in town. But who in their right mind would ever decide to rent out their personal home to a bunch of strangers? Well, those crazy people are Above, right? We are that team that goes, let me transform your home for the next 3 nights to a vacation rental and then switch it back on Sunday when they check out to your personal home, and you might be $20,000-$30,000 richer. That is the Above model. And so it plays very, very well for people with luxury homes that may not spend a lot of time there. I've got homeowners that are like, hey, I'm dating my wife again because you kicked me out for these weekends. And I go to, we go to the Four Seasons, you put us up there for the weekend, and we start dating all over again. It's a fun business, but that's Above in its essence and how it came about. Because we were trying to put our corporate business in there, and then we said, well, we should probably look at some of the leisure business to stay in there. And we never did any marketing, none. And one person told another person, told another person, and suddenly, we're got several dozen homes in Austin, and suddenly we moved to Nashville, and then we're in Scottsdale, and now I'm in Mexico, and we keep growing. But it's a very, very simple model of we tend to be luxury, so we cater to a high net worth, uber high net worth customer, but we love tech, but we're people forward. Luxury is personal. Luxury is customized. Luxury is not, it's very hard to duplicate because it's customizable. And until there's AI or some robots that can change, to provide really authentic service, which is never going to happen, I'm people forward. And I have the best team and associates that are just wizards at their craft of serving others. And we kill it. We
I love that.
kill it.
I can't tell you how much I love that. That's just precious that you say that.
It's fun because I even have a team member that came from the hotel business like I did, but I was more on the sales and development side of things at Hyatt. I didn't never operated right like he did, and he just goes, my days are so varied. I'm never in the same building, with all the stuff inventory on top of me. I'm at people's different homes doing a different craft, different times. It's always a new challenge. It's always varied, and he loves it comparatively to what he was doing before. No knocks. I loved my time at Hyatt. And I'm a big proponent of their company and their culture. But I love what we're building at Above because it's so authentic. There's nothing contrived about somebody's home. It's as unique as they are. But for us to come into that home and create experiences under one roof to delight that guest the way they want. We always say in the hospitality business or in business, it's a golden rule. You treat people the way you want to be treated. Good Lord, no. We treat people the platinum rule. We treat people the way they want to be treated. And it's our job to find out how that is. So when you approach a reservation or a guest or anybody coming in to stay with us, Above's approach is always, how do you want to feel when you leave? That feeling on the flight back or in the car ride home? What do you want to feel? And if they can help us answer that question, we will exceed that expectation above and beyond. And our team is really good at getting that out of people because everybody travels for a reason, right? Even
100%.
yeah, regardless of the, obviously going through COVID, we have so many people that have actually sadly came for difficult reasons, right? They might be celebrating a life that's gone. We could be celebrating a new baby that they haven't seen because they've been separated right, during COVID. So we have meetings and people coming together for so many different reasons, but we are always able to meet them where they're at and build upon that reason they traveled. No AI, no technology can do that except another human being pouring into another. And
And
that's what I spend most of my time doing, is bringing those types of people together on a very, very simple promise. Let me go above and beyond than what you anticipated and make sure we absolutely do a great job fulfilling why you traveled to begin with.
that's awesome.
That's about
I think it's really interesting that you said what kind of, crazy person would let somebody else in their home that they wanted. I said something to my husband yesterday at the table. We're making some decisions, and I said to him, I love our rental house. We have a rental house at the beach. I love our house. I have set it up in the last 3 years to be exactly what I want. I want to retire there. I do. Well, just they're part of it. I want to live there in the winter. How about that when I retire? I don't want to live, I don't want to rent it all my life, to tell you the truth. But what kind of crazy person would set up a house, a rental house, to be what they want? I think any savvy homeowner should do that. Truly. So tell me this, with such a focus on high-end properties, what are the key factors you consider when you look to add to your portfolio?
homeowner.
Oh, okay.
House is a house. In the luxury game, it's not about what's more luxurious than the next. They're all pretty nice. But a homeowner is, to me, one of the most important aspects of this game. I want to delight that homeowner, and I want to delight that guest, and I want to provide this incredible experience for my associates. I can't do that without a partner and a homeowner that has that same vision. If you have a homeowner that is strictly constantly looking always at the bottom line, they just might miss the reason why that person stayed, or how can I be more hospitable to the guest that's coming into my home? How can I not bring preconceived notions? And so that interview process for us is tight. It's tough. We probably say no 3 out of 5 times, 4 out of 5 times. We usually say no, because if we're misaligned, guest suffers, we suffer, homeowner guest suffers. And that's not why we found it above, right? My wife would kill me. By the way, she found it above, right? She'd kill me.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you've experienced both large scale hotel operations
Yeah.
and small luxury vacation rentals.
Yeah.
What would you say are the biggest challenges and opportunities for property managers in today's market, 2025?
There are no challenges. They're just fun opportunities that need to come. Maybe the glass is always half full with me with my rose-colored glasses, but today there is such an opportunity in the hotel world. Right? I obviously stay highly in touch with my hotel friends. Alternative accommodations, such as me and above, truly got a chance to be on stage during COVID, where we probably moved our industry 10 years further in 1 to 2 years. And we found out that the customer liked it a lot. And where it was kind of a threat to room nights in the hotel business, it is a absolute threat. And it should be something that isn't a threat, but something that hotels can learn from in providing different types of accommodations under their brands. I digress for them. But boy, since COVID, how much of the scale back to technology have you seen versus staffing from all brands? I won't call anybody out here in the public. I'm disappointed in my old brethren. I think a lot of them, when you stay at a 5-star hotel, you probably expect housekeeping every night. But it should never be optional. And those old COVID ways to save money, they're addicted.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to request it. Shouldn't have to leave your towels on the floor to have them changed. No, I'm 100%. I went to the Four Seasons a few years ago, couple of years ago, right after COVID, and can't tell you how disappointed I was. I was like, this. I mean, I hadn't stayed at the Four Seasons before. I stayed there because I thought, okay, we were doing a trip with kids, my sister and I, and
Where'd you go?
we went to, we went to Colorado,
Yeah.
and I don't remember if it was Denver or, I think it was Denver.
You have the Four Seasons Vale. Is that where you were?
Yes, there you go. I can't remember exactly. We went all over, to tell you the truth. We took the kids and we traveled.
Hospitality girl.
Yeah, we actually traveled all over as much as we could where the snow would allow us to. But that Four Seasons, I was like, this can't be a Four Seasons. It's just no way. They mixed up my reservation. I met one of my best friends, Susan, because she doesn't live far from there. And her kids came down to stay one day. And it was just a service down in the bar area where you had something to eat was just terrible. And I was like, this can't be right. Yeah. And I needed a rollaway bed, and they came in and they put it in a really weird place. And I was like, this just,
Who's thinking here? And it's never the big things. So to answer
right.
your question just directly, is the chance to impress is always. So you asked me about luxury homes. It's never just the big house in the great house. That's 20% of the deal. 80% of the deal revolves around small moments when you're by yourself or you're interacting with the team. Did they make you feel appreciated, heard, special, catered to, served, right? Or did they push you to technology, or did they push you to something else, or did they just explain policy to you? The Four Seasons Vales has got obviously to do a wonderful,
Stunning.
but they suffer from some of those micro issues on the mountain where the cost of housing is so crazy. I remember this from my mountain experiences in hotels, trying to staff those hotels with people that can't afford to live on the mountain,
Right.
right? And they're traveling in, and so they're struggling, and therefore it's harder and harder to keep staff. So it's a big issue out there. But for us, we offering not this huge building that has to be constantly maintained, right? But actually offering a varied product over place. My team can jump onto different locations at one time, a much varied experience, and provide that higher level of service at times, because we're not always managing a physical plant, a restaurant, a spa, and all those types of things. So we can actually, I like to say, do a better job.
So tell me about some of the fun experiences that people have at some of the homes that you offer.
I'll tell you about one recently that I'm going to brag about one of my team members. So Bigwig was in town. I digress. It's a very famous person, was staying with us, and they stayed over Thanksgiving. And one night our team put on they wanted music for their family outdoors on a lake, still nice here weather-wise in Austin. And my team member knew we wanted to showcase Central Texas music. That's why they came, all those types of things. But we realized he lived in Vegas. From his podcasts, she listened to them to find out they found out what his favorite band was, found out what his favorite song was,
Wow.
and took that song to the band in Austin and made them teach them that song and played it for him or there. That is the level of detail that I hope I can inspire from my team. They inspire me with these types of stories. That is such a commitment to breathe service into people, right? I'll give you another example. A bunch of young moms were staying at homes with their husbands. The husbands were out playing golf. There's probably 6 or 7 kids, all under the age of 7. And somewhere in the conversation, she's like, we just want an hour or two to ourselves, right? So we can just be sisters and sisters-in-laws, right? So one of my team members goes out there and knocks on the door. And we have this program called the Silver Tray Program, which is kind of this mid-stay surprise of a little thank you between us and your house manager, your valet, and all that stuff, little gifts. And this gift was on a silver tray, and it was a little card, and they knocked on the door and opened it. And they're like, "Oh, hi, this is for you." Read the card, and the card said, "Let me have all the kids. Babysitters behind me. We just brought a snow cone truck out front. And for an hour and a half, we filled them with sugar and snow cones and all that stuff." And the mothers went back in the house and laughed and just had some time for themselves. Didn't expect it, didn't know it was coming. That is hospitality.
No, that was brilliant because you were within eyesight of those moms who wouldn't let their kids go with a stranger for anything. And you sent that, and they're actually happy to sit in that living room and look outside and watch their youngins
The
play.
champagne and the Prosecco and all that stuff was on the other side of it for the moms and stuff, but I digress. But those are the types of those small snippets of things. On like the homeowner side, I can speak to you on so many meeting my homeowners of where they're at. There's no bigger trust than in business, I think, that I've been involved with, that I'm not renting out your divorced asset, that beach house. I'm renting out where you nest your children, where you lie your head in, where you are protected from the craziness of this world. And I invite strangers, and I say, let me create a business right in your middle of your living room. It's kind of what I do. So our company realizes this is a huge amount of trust. With that amount of trust that's given to us, we get behind the scenes of people's lives, but it gives us such an opportunity to feed into them. Had a friend of mine who lost a child, just gutting. And my team was there to provide not just physical comfort, but dinners, massages, anything we could do to just meet them where they are. They're my guests that never check out. And I treat them accordingly. It doesn't even have to be such a tough moment like that. It's celebrating their kids' championship in the volleyball. It's their graduation from school or from college. It's their marriages. It's all of those things. Or, hey, by the way, our guests used your surfboard, so your wakeboard so much that we went out and bought you a new one, and he's 17. He appreciated that, right? So it's those types of opportunities to treat our homeowners the above approach. Part of our culture here also, Lynell, is to every year we do what's called a Pinnacle Club. And it is a chance for those who rented out their homes the most with us. We take them on a 5-star vacation to almost like a big incentive trip. And they get to experience hopefully how we treat our guests, right? But in turn, we also do the same thing for my team. We go and take our associates on a trip to a 5-star place and have them be treated the way they treat so many others. And I can't begin to tell you that feeding of each other, of hospitality, inspires, renews it, and gets people to think even further. I love that about who we are.
I love that about who you are too.
Thank you.
Where are some of the places that you take them, that you trust
So-
to take your employees? Now, here's the reason I say that, because you want them to learn, obviously, from this experience. It's not just, well, here's what I did a teaching recently, and it was, the Bible says, love your neighbor like you love yourself. And you can't do that if you don't love yourself. You can't. There's a lesson to be learned there. Same thing here. You can't teach your employees 5-star if you're not going to a 5-star place. So tell me one of the places you take them.
Well, one of the most successful, I can speak to a few of them. One internally I loved so much was the Park Hyatt Beaver Creek. We took them up there for an incredible experience. Our homeowners, we have taken our trips to Sea Island, Georgia, to the cloister.
The cloister? I was just going to say, you went to the cloister?
We did.
Wow.
We did one in Mexico.
That's 5-star.
In Mexico for all-inclusive 5-star in Riviera Maya.
Wow.
It was like, I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll remember it. But
Love the 5-star. Have you gone to the one in Tennessee?
Which one? The Armitage?
No. This is the farm. Blackberry Farm, I think.
Blackberry Farm. We have because we own a travel agency. Our gal, Sean Durrett, is our buyer. She she keeps telling me about that. I have not been there. We're in Nashville and go, it's so good.
This episode of How We Grow is brought to you by Bluetent. Bluetent is proud to offer digital marketing solutions for vacation rental professionals. Expand your visibility to new travelers and book more guests with the team at Bluetent, featuring direct booking sites, email marketing, digital marketing, channel management, and more. Discover what Bluetent can do for your short-term rentals at bluetent.com.
The thing is, it's a totally different atmosphere than you'll find, say, at the Cloister. Totally different. So it would give them a real balance between and the food.
Have you been on Silver Sea?
No, but it's on my bucket list.
So either Sea Dream or Silver Sea is something we're looking at. When does this get released? I don't want to ruin it for my team, but these are some of the things.
Probably April. It'll be April probably before we're doing this.
That's fine. Hopefully I'll announce it earlier in April. But these are some of those.
I'll tell you.
We want mountain. I want some beach. We want some ski. We want some all this type of, and go on the ocean. Since we've gone into Scottsdale, we're thinking about going up there. So these are just some really cool opportunities for people to be treated the way, in a style, in an opportunity for them to observe some of the best at their game.
I love that. Let me ask you this. What advice do you have to other entrepreneurs that are looking to enter the vacation rental industry as the luxury market, especially in terms of managing both the expectations of the customer and the operational demands? What kind of advice would you give to them?
There's a lot there to unpack.
I know. You could take part of it. It doesn't have to be both.
Let me simply say, can't air DNA beyond price lab your way to that. Our industry is built for volume. So if you go to Verma, you go listen to so much, you're talking volume, and that's fine. But if you listen to all of that, they're going to tell you what you think you're worth. My average rates are $4,000 or $5,000 pretty much. We have homes at $2,000. We have homes at, we are not afraid to charge, because not to stick it to our homeowners or to our guests. That's not the point. But it's also to unlock the ability to personalize, customize, authentically bring a destination and experience to the guest.
That's so refreshing. I love that. You said two things here that are just outstanding to me. And guys, I just want to repeat them because I think they're worth saying. This last one was, we are not afraid to charge. Don't be afraid to charge for the experience and for what you think it's worth, even if like he said, your ADR may not be 5,000. The other thing you said is, homeowners are my guests who never check out. I think both of those really set a standard as to who you are as an entrepreneur in this business. So
I'm a hospitality guy. You can call me lots of different things, but I'm a servant at heart. I hire servants at heart. I can't teach you that. I can't teach you, even when you're being dressed down by some tough guests, to wipe their feet with your tears. I can't teach you that. There's a servanthood mentality that either you have or you're not. And there's not that bad people there's lots of great people that aren't servants.
sure.
Right? But those who can align themselves, right back to the beginning of our conversations, that can align themselves, that they know that they have this servanthood mentality, hospitality is a beautiful place for that to be expressed. And at Above and any of my companies, you get to do that in such style and flair and make meaningful connections and facilitate some really incredible moments. Things that I've had a chance to witness, from engagements to babies, and that first time a grandmother meets their new grandbaby. Reminds me of a story. Because of COVID, someone was holding off and they couldn't see each other, and that baby was born, and we knew they were coming. It was going to be the first time. So we had our house butler there with a camera and snapped that moment. They didn't know that moment was being captured, but boy, it was in a beautiful crystal frame the next morning for breakfast, sitting out for grandma. They caught that moment. That is understanding why they're traveling and kicking it up. That is the fun, small things. It's not the chance that they, got to meet Governor Abbott, on a tour of the Capitol of downtown Austin. Nothing big. It's almost those small moments. The cat, because everybody's under one roof, different than a hotel. They're all under one roof. You grab these moments around the kitchen island that you would not get somewhere else. And some of those moments are so meaningful to dive in and build better connections. I live for stuff like that.
You know, you remind me, you're very different. My friend Steve Schwab has a very big servant's heart. He did some really cool workshops, and you get to know people when they are running these workshops, because you're talking about your personal life. A lot of us entrepreneurs that have been, doing, having our own business and running this for many, many years, when you get everybody together and you start talking, it gets kind of personal. And he has that servant's heart too. And I really think, so do a bunch of the people that were there, that I just love. You get to know those people, and almost 100%, not 100, probably 80. I'm going to say 80%, because there's outliers. There are people that are so driven, they're successful regardless, and they're just not going to stop. They are that person. But a lot of those people had servants' hearts, and they are so kind and so sweet. Same kind of heart, loves people. These are people in hospitality that love people, and you're one of those people. And it's so refreshing to see that.
If I would have got 1,600 on my SATs, maybe I'd be a surgeon and saving lives and stuff, but I didn't, right? Wasn't that guy, right? I went to Arizona State. So I had to do what I had to do to express that piece. And the key thing here is there's a place for everybody, because if I actually had to do those operations all the time, I'm telling you stories from things that I didn't do. But my talents are best where I'm at in the business, facilitating and empowering those people to make these experiences happen. And it's at this point in my career, at the time my wife and I, we pinch ourselves, because it is such a business of good. And that has been the most true statement, the most authentic statement I can give about where we are. Where else can you not have to buy a house? You don't have to invest anything. Just take the shingle you live under and produce a 6-figure income just by get out, right? Just by leaving. Number two, that opens up this world for our guests to have this incredible experience, to share something that makes them feel more connected to the most important things in their life, and a backdrop for my team to do their craft in the best way possible. It is an economy of good. And I love this business.
Wow. It definitely is. I agree. It's economy of good. Let me ask you this. With your extensive experience, okay, what's the one piece of advice you would give to someone just starting out in vacation rentals?
So much in this world today is so busy and noisy and crazy, from our phones ringing and social media and constant screens and things being thrown at you and advertising, all this noise. When you're an entrepreneur, they're talking to you in your ears. Oh, you should be doing this. You should be doing this. You should be thinking about this revenue stream. Stop it. Why did you get in the business? Laser focus yourself on that. Being a bit ADD, and I could jump into a bunch of other things. If I didn't have an incredible business partner, my wife, and my other business partner that sits there and corrals me in, we did not mission creep. We set out to be the truest, most authentic luxury provider in the vacation rental world. Now, we're not huge, we're boutique, of course we are. But when you come and stay with me, you will never forget it. That is what we stay. So I encourage as many new competitors to come against us, because if those people are passionate about serving, not letting tech move forward, all that stuff. Oh, do this and don't even have to show up at the house. If you want to be in a luxury business, it ain't going to work, right? You call yourself luxury, but then the biggest concern when we talk about rate earlier was the disappointment between the gap between what you provided and what you charged, right? That is, in the luxury world, is the kiss of death. You charged me $50,000 a night, but you provided me $20,000 a night worth of service. We never want that to happen. We want to give them $100,000 worth of service a day. So the piece there for that young entrepreneur, that new vacation rental company coming out, stay laser focused on who you are. There's money to be made on the economy side of things and the uber wealthy on my side. You don't have to be either one of them, but if you don't pour yourself into that, if you're going to think you're going to tech your way into success without putting out there, it'll fall down like a house of cards. No offense to my friends at Vacasa, we've seen that what's missing in this world is there's no hospitality companies inside the vacation rental world. They're property managers. Now, if you want something to succeed and sustain and have these experiences in the home, really give them something besides a place to sleep, then our industry is going to be just the Motel 6 or a limited service. But above stands in complete contrast to that whole premise and says, no, we're going to build a hospitality company that people can rely on to have this experience, almost having the house be just the backdrop.
So that's beautiful. And I have to tell you though, I have incredibly renewed hope for Vacasa with Steve Schwab and Casago. And I know them,
And John
so
Banzak?
there's my heart, I have renewed hope for them, honestly, and what they're doing. I'm very excited to see what they do.
Whole process of getting smart enough to go, let's think about bringing in local expertise to pour into those homes, right? Doesn't that sound like Marriott, like Four Seasons, like everything else? Everything that you do, why would you travel to Vail if you didn't want to experience what makes Vail Vail? Or do you want just the lock and the key and just you're fending for yourself? That's not hospitable, right? And I couldn't agree more. If John Banzak and the rest of the team is listening at Casago, we wish you all we need you as an industry.
We love JB. There's nobody like him in the industry.
No one's like JB.
If anybody can do it. Steve Schwab, Carlos Carzo, and JB, baby, let me tell you, that is the dream team. And I am like,
here I was at Hyatt all those years ago, and we had big Marriott in front of us, right? And I always used to say, if Marriott sneezed, we caught pneumonia, right? Because they were the big dog in front. But at all times, even as a company, we rooted for them because they brought semblance to the industry. Mm-hmm. They brought good standards. And boy, oh boy, like Avis, we tried harder at Hyatt to beat them, right? Made the business better. And we need Vacasa, Casago to be successful.
Yes, we
need
do.
That big dog. We need that.
We do.
Move away from the cottage industry that we can tend to be, and to bring that standardization that people feel super comfortable, not just booking at Airbnb, but booking direct with everybody.
Mm-hmm. And that is, you've got inspiration there with, some, and then you've got brilliance. You've got a lot of really amazing people that are working there. I was just like, when I heard that, first thing I did was text Steve and said, OMG, this is amazing. I cannot wait to see this happen.
I hope they know how much we're rooting for them. There's so many of us
no, it's true.
Small guys out there that are going, we want you to succeed. We need standardization. We need to be as big and strong as possible.
Go away from Vacasa and toward Casago, toward that business model, the way that they do things, because Vacasa came into our market, and when they bought, they bought a local property management, big one, the biggest, and they just lost all the property owners because exactly of what you just talked about. The homeowners were not their guests that never check out. And it's not that they're bad people or it was bad running. Absolutely 100% not. It was their business model didn't work for that local.
Private equity demanded you to grow. And how do you grow big? You just acquire. And we saw it on the hotel business years ago, right? You got to go asset light. right? You've got to run out here and pick up as many franchises as you can to keep Wall Street's number. When you stop and realize, wait a minute, there are hotel owners out here. There are guests out here. They don't want muddled. They don't want a brand that's muddled. They have bought something with value proposition included. The same thing happened to Vacasa. They believed one thing and it got too big and it became something it naturally became.
It naturally became.
It
Exactly.
wasn't bad management. It wasn't.
I 100% agree.
They followed a model of private equity that just wasn't sustainable. Now they're getting back to that whole thing. Now, I'm not sure if I'm a big fan on the whole franchise thing and all that type, but I totally get for their model and their largesse
Yeah.
might be the right call.
Right.
I'm not sure if it's my model, but boy, I'm rooting for him. And
We all are.
JB's not only a friend. There would be no above if JB wasn't out there as a friend, and because we're both from Austin from his turnkey days and beyond. Yeah, I think the world of him. Casago, you've got a great guy.
Everybody does. I don't think there's anybody in the industry that doesn't love John Banczak.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody that knows Carlos Corzo doesn't love him. He's brilliant. He is. And
I've seen him, but I've never met him.
Oh my gosh. If you see, you would never know it. He's the most unassuming. He's just so unassuming. You look at John Banczak and intelligence shines through his eyes. You can't help it. You know that guy's brilliant. And Steve too, he is such an amazing person inside and out too. So I know there are other people that they've gotten involved in there, and I do wish them the best as well. I think that your business model is extraordinarily unique. And let me just tell you this. I have done this job for, a little while. And I'm on I think this is like the 150th episode or so that I've done. There have been a handful of people that after I got off, I went, that's on my bucket list. I have to tell you, above is on my bucket list.
You call me.
You have convinced me. You've so convinced me.
Come down to 35 or go north to Nashville. Just come and let me know.
For real, I love your attitude toward your guests and your homeowners, and it's refreshing. And it's just such a great taste. And I love that you did it with your wife, and she's obviously one of your biggest supporters.
She's the best sale this salesman ever did.
Oh,
marry me.
I love it. I feel that way about my husband. He is just the most amazing person.
Yeah, we're blessed.
So let me ask you this as we wrap up. Is there anything that any advice you'd like to give property managers out there who may be struggling to grow?
Ask yourself one thing. Why do you want to grow besides the obvious? To get more money, to grow. You could be very much the best plumber in town and build a great living and be very well respected and kill it. Doesn't mean you need to be the biggest one in your Tri-City area. Doesn't mean you have to be the biggest in the state or in the country, unless you are willing to do what it takes. There's this knee-jerk reaction to go out and, when you want to grow through money by acquisition. I avoided that for a while, right? Everything was organic, expensive, slower. There's this lie that's out there that says that unless you're first to market, you won't be successful or your brand is going to suffer. I utterly reject that.
No, I don't think so either.
Otherwise, there would be no Aman resorts, or there would be no one and onlys and things like that. But for those people who are truly looking to expand, make the commitment here. Build your business to make sure that a brand standard of what you're providing, the value proposition to your homeowner, your guest, and your employee, is honest and true and unwavering. Now, does an above property, if we were in Aspen, Colorado, and Austin, Texas, the standard may be here, but you could imagine Aspen's clientele may just need a few more things. What your standard is, and you flex to where you need to be. If you think that you're going to be bold enough to say the standard is the standard is the standard is the standard, has never stayed at a Four Seasons, has never stayed at a Mon, has never stayed at one of these places that you watch that, wait a minute, I feel like I've always been here, but this is a completely brand new experience for me. And it's meeting me at where I'm at. That is hard to do. And if you go into a mindset of that, I think you're much better off to build a company that will expand. The success, the little success that Above has had, has always relied on authenticity and being true to who we are. We never claim to be anything else but what we are. I'm not looking to rebuild your house or convince you to buy another house, right? I am wholly here in managing your home and the expectations of you and the guests and my team to create these experiences. That's it. I don't mission creep. I don't go in there doing anything else. That helps us grow. Focus, true, honest on who you are. That helps, because when you're sitting across the desk or the table from a homeowner, they know when you're true to who you are and who you're not. And
That's so true.
when you're looking at managing assets the way we do, makes a huge difference.
It creates trust. Yeah, that honesty creates trust, and so does the servant's heart. You know, you trust people like that. It was such an honor to have you. Honestly, Brian.
Thank you for thinking of our little company.
I'm so grateful that you did this. I really am. You're little because you choose to be. I'm just going to throw that out there. You're not little because you couldn't grow and you couldn't scale it if you decided to, but you couldn't grow it and scale it the way you want it to and keep what you have.
Luxury is not on every corner. It's never going to be, if I'm going to be big, it's going to be, hey, I've got 50 homes in this city, but I've got 50 cities, right? Or that type of approach. You're never going to see 1,000 homes in Texas from me, right? I don't want to ever cannibalize upon my own homeowners. We want to make sure we have the luxury, amount of luxury out there that fits the demand. Otherwise, that doesn't help my homeowners.
Well, listen, I really have enjoyed our conversation. I'm sure that everyone out there will too. Guys, Brian, if people want to get in touch with you and ask questions, can they get in touch with you?
Of course. Brian, Brian at bookabove.com. I answer all my emails. That's my personal one. Go ahead and send them over.
I love it. Thank you so much for being with us. And guys, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. Just got to say, thank you, Brian.
This episode of How We Grow was brought to you by Bluetent Marketing. To find out more about how Bluetent Marketing can help grow your vacation rental business, visit bluetent.com. Make sure to search for How We Grow in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found, and hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. On behalf of the team here at Inhabit, thanks for listening.